Anytime.
The bridge over the street.
Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum this evening. 4 out of the 5 selectmen are here. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any amendments to the agenda?
Not for me.
Okay. Public comment. Any public comment this evening?
Yeah.
Okay. Consent agenda.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Action and discussion, the Royal River Conservation Trust.
Welcome. I'm Alan Stearns, staff for the Royal River Conservation Trust, local land trust. Behind me, Tammy Jansen is one of our board members who's been working on this project as well, so I might turn to her for a couple of questions. If you ask any tough questions, I might turn to her. I sent to you all some prep material, which I can either make this fast and cut to the chase, or I can warm you up and walk through some of it depending on signals you give me. But I took the liberty of suggesting a couple motions that might be helpful if you want me to lead you down that path.
I read through it. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read through it.
I did. I don't actually have the email that has those in it right here. I think I may have it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't make copies of the email.
Just a second.
Probably, if not for no others, in the benefit of the people watching on TV, a little bit of a recap probably is.
Okay. So the good news is, so first, I've been in front of this select board twice in the last 3 or 4 years, both time with a good give and take, updating you on what we're doing, and generally the signals have been thank you and keep going, but I've never asked for a vote. That it's been my impression that we're really well aligned with the town. I know we're very well aligned with the neighbors, but I thought that for a variety of reasons today, I thought it might be good to do a bit more of a formal handshake, because we'd like to do more work in town, and we'd like to really know that you're with us as we talk publicly. The news is that just a few weeks ago we did close on a parcel right across the pond from the boat ramp at Runaround Pond, a half-mile of shoreline. Diane Ackerman, who owned the parcel with her late husband John, sold it to us, and I've got several maps here if anybody wants them. But we're just building a bigger contiguous block of land around Runaround Pond for habitat, hunting, mostly wet, so it's great for wintertime trails and not that great in the summertime, and keeping the land open and undeveloped. So that's a good project. Continuing 2 years ago, we started buying some land out there. Duncan Chesley, who's sitting behind us, and the Colsons buying some land that set the stage to get around to the Ackerman parcel and more. Diane asked, when she agreed to sell it to us, that we honor John as part of this transaction. So that started the idea of having a plaque somewhere on the properties, both honoring John and also other landowners, such as Duncan and the Colsons, who have worked with us over the years. So formally, we thought the best place for a plaque like that would be at the recreation area, in the picnic area, where people are more likely to see it, rather than putting it out on the edge of a snowmobile trail. So formally, the first thing that I thought would be helpful is if the selectmen said, yes, we'd love to have that plaque on the town-managed land before we go any further in terms of the idea. I've looked at it. There's a big ledge, almost 5 feet high. One face faces the vault toilet. The other face faces the pond. I'd picture putting the plaque on the back face, tucked away. It's not in anybody's face. Some people will find it and sit. There's room for more. That's where we'd probably put it. So that was the first possible motion I suggested, that you allow us to put a plaque on your land.
Anybody? I have the possible motion here. I prefer to not make motions as chair, but I will at times, but I prefer not to.
So you would actually take care of the installation and all that involved in that, or would our public works department have to do that, or how would it be
It's
installed?
simple enough to basically put bolts in and some epoxy, and we'd pay for the plaque and we'd take care of it. The thinking is, and I don't know, we're at some point, the thinking is when we get it, we haven't ordered it yet, just in case you guys have any concerns, but in a month or month and a half, we'll have a little party down there, and mostly use it as an excuse to work on the trails and pick up litter, but also have a little ceremony at sunset or whatever it takes.
I would move that we authorize the Royal River Conservation Trust to install a brass plaque on town-managed land at Runaround Pond, and to commemorate and applaud the leadership and generosity of landowners and donors who have helped protect the pond and its surroundings between 1975 and 2017.
I'll second
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
The next thing that I laid out in the memo is we'd like to do more. We've followed a bit. Ruth has updated us on the comp plan's recent work and discussions and questionnaires, and we've got a lot of members who live in Durham as well, who are urging us to do a bit more. Behind me, Fred Faber walked in after we got started. Fred lives in North Pownell, and he's the president of our board, so he's got a lot of networks in Durham as well. The only approach we take is to work with willing sellers. We don't know who those might be. There are any number of landowners around Runaround Pond who we might want to work with if they're interested in working with us. We don't have any specific offers on the table yet, but we're always sensitive to any. We don't want to get out ahead of the town if there are any concerns about picking up another piece or two. That's really all that's on our horizon, is a parcel or so every year or two. So the other thing to point out is that we work very well with the Snowmobile Club. It's effortless to work with them, and just hang a sign up saying thank you for them maintaining our trail, keeping our trail open for us. Also, good working relationship with Maine Forest Yurts, Old Crow Ranch, any number of neighbors and businesses in town to keep our land open for whatever reason they may want it. So I thought it would be, partly for some grant applications, it's often helpful to be able to say the town does support where we're going, just to be able to put it in writing, that it's not just a vague impression, but an actual motion of support from you all saying that you're comfortable with the work we're doing in town. So I laid out a second possible motion, basically saying, urging us to keep working with you.
I know. Well, I'm also on the comprehensive planning committee, and I know that in the public outreach work we've done so far, surveys and one large public meeting, and then several smaller ones, that preserving open space and natural resources and recreational opportunities has been a major theme that has come up several times. We haven't run into anybody that says they don't want those things. So I would certainly support the organization continuing to.
Is that a motion?
Okay, sure.
I'll second it.
All right.
There you go.
Jill will love that motion.
Yeah, right.
Get is a paper from you.
It's all nicely typed out, right?
Oh, any discussion on this? All in favor? Motion carries.
So then the final thing, we apply for a lot of funds from foundations and state funding sources. The Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund is a state funding source. It's lottery tickets, sporting lottery tickets for the outdoors, and the money goes into a pot and they distribute it. We've been applying for money from the state, partly with a condition that we commit to use some of that money to help the towns. In all the towns that we work with, a lot of times water access points get to the bottom from a budget perspective, and if we can bring a few resources, it may be a boat access point in Yarmouth that then goes to land we own upriver, or just boat access points in New Gloucester that we're glad the town owns, because we don't want to own some fairly intensive places. So we have some money. This most recent cycle of funding, the state gave us $5,000 to work with any town, to improve boat access points. We had Durham in mind when we applied for it. The commitment to the state is that we'd spend money to improve the town's facility, working with Ruth and others. There's some, 5,000 doesn't go too far, but when I look at the boat access point, there's a broken gate, and it'd be good to have a kiosk so people can put up signs or flyers or rules and regs or whatever they might want to put up. We'd like to do doing a little bit of trail work might cost almost nothing. But small, minor improvements like that, just to whip that place into shape and make it a little bit more inviting. And again, before we talking to Ruth, we can install the kiosks, so you might not even see the money. We'll spend it. Ruth will say, "Thank you for spending money on our property," just for the accounting for the state. But working with volunteers and others to get that done. So the third motion was just to let you officially accept that gift and/or let us work with Ruth to clean up the property a bit.
In fact, from what I understand, it would have, unless we take it to a vote of the town, it would have to be something like what you said, because I think the town would have to accept it if the town were to spend it. Because, from my understanding of the way it works, because it hasn't been appropriated, so the town would have to accept and appropriate
Right, so it's
it.
probably best if he just, yeah.
Right, so if the trust were able to spend, like you mentioned, and give an accounting to the town, and we write a thank you type thing, like you said. Otherwise, we have to actually bring it to the town to accept it and then appropriate it.
The one thing I didn't mention, and I think you guys may have talked about this in the past, the sign that is there for the recreation area, the paint is flaking and the boards are rotting. So that's one other thing that, we'll work with Ruth, get a design, and almost as easy for us to pay the bill out of this state fund than to give you the money for you to pay the bill using the state funds. So.
Right. I move we accept the donation of $5,000 in goods and services from the Royal River Conservation Trust and the Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund, and to direct the town administrator to work with the trust to oversee minor projects at the Runaround Pond Recreation Area.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Wonderful. That's all I've got. Our next step, we're going to do some sort of event party in a month or two when we get the plaque done, and get as many people in town as possible to pick up litter and clean up the trails and have fun down at the pond. So,
Thank you very much.
Draw them in.
yeah.
Thank you for all the
Don't schedule it on May
work that the
20th.
trust has been doing over there, conserving the land and so on. It's a very nice resource over there.
Great.
We appreciate
thank you.
everything that's being done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is tax acquired property sale.
Okay. So we have a piece of tax acquired property that was acquired this past December. And enclosed in your packet is the letter that generally I mail out to the previous owner of the property before we put it out to bid. And then the notice of the foreclosure sale and an accounting of the minimum bid amount. And if everybody is good with that, then I would go right ahead with it.
I have one question, whether we want to postpone this a little bit. One of the, you mentioned before the meeting about setting goals and objectives, and I know one of our prior tax foreclosures, we had some questions afterwards about the process and things like that, and I wonder if we should maybe look at that.
In regard to what?
Well,
As far as the process.
the amount that came in was considerably higher than the amount owed, and basically, what do we do with that?
Okay.
And because
It's a good problem to have.
yes, but I mean, this one, I don't know if this is a residence or just
This is a
land,
residence as well,
and it's
yes.
being lived in.
It is being lived in.
Okay, so I wonder if we should look at that before putting this out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, sounds
Because there was some
reasonable.
ideas thrown around, I think made sense.
Okay.
I'm gonna table that.
Gonna table that one.
I don't know.
Okay, next up, act on contract with Town Hall Streams.
So I gave you guys all a copy of the town hall stream contract. We've put it in the budget, so, you know, we've talked about this before. But this is a contract and it does go for 12 months, so I just wanted approval before I actually sign it.
So the total is 3,000.
Yes, it's 3,000, so it's $250 a month for 12 months.
How did that rate with what we were paying before with
We were paying
electronics?
4,000 for the other one,
Okay,
so it's less.
it's less, okay.
And we're working on getting rid of that cost. We're in the process of switching it over from the electronics to the streaming.
Is this the entire contract?
Yeah, it's the entire
They
contract.
don't have to list out what the equipment is or specs or anything like that?
It's all done online, pretty much. We're actually already using their services.
Yeah, basically, this is kind of like a cloud service, I think.
Yeah, okay.
So, one thing I'm surprised is I don't see, unless it's unlimited, is it unlimited the amount? I don't see the amount of storage that we're allowed as far as how much.
Well, it says that the
Oh,
playback is
unlimited use.
available for 5 years.
Yeah, and unlimited usage, but that I'm not sure, usage usually means how many times people view. I mean, this will be streamed live and available. And, okay. That's an interesting statement. We will allow for authorized persons to download one digital copy for any use. And we're not giving up rights to it, are we?
That's a good question. I didn't think so.
Maybe, I wonder if we could just check into that.
And what happens after 5 years? Do they just delete the file and it's not available anymore, or?
Well,
Because I think we have something before the planning board now where they went back maybe more than 5 years trying to look at a film about what happened at a meeting. So-
well, and this is an issue that we're running into because a lot of our meetings now are videotaped. Most of them are. So we need to figure out how we're gonna end up storing them in the long run. Right now, they're on DVDs.
Well, and that's, they say download a digital copy. Well, I would do that the minute it goes up.
Right.
Or either that or burn a copy to disk so we have it available even after the 5 years is out. I mean,
Yeah.
That's been done currently.
yeah.
Yeah, we actually burn it to disk as it's being,
Okay, so
Podcast.
yeah, as long as we still have the hard copy, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I will make sure and check on Thursday before I sign it.
Is that a similar arrangement that we have now with their current provider?
Well, the current provider only does the television ones, and so.
Oh, this is a new service?
This is a new service
okay,
that
so
goes
it's-
with our new website.
right.
So it will be streaming live on the internet, it'll be streaming live on the channel, and it'll also be available for playback on the internet.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So, if we do a motion, I'd want to have the motion to authorize Ruth to sign this for us, and I don't know if we want to put it contingent that she is contingent on being satisfied on, you know, the rights and stuff like that, but, because you said you were gonna be looking at doing this Thursday?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, it should be contingent on that.
Yeah. So-
You're asking for a motion?
I am asking for a
So moved.
So seconded.
Jill is really gonna love you guys.
She does.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to accept the contract, or to allow the town administrator to sign the contract contingent that we're satisfied that the rights to this still remain with us. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Would be on YouTube.
Okay. Codes, next up is code enforcement proposal, or position, sorry. Code enforcement position. So as you all know, we right now have an interim code enforcement officer. We have not made a decision yet what to do with the code enforcement position. I believe you all have something that Ruth has put together, kind of putting out 5 different scenarios that we could do for the code enforcement officer.
Do we have a posting out now? Are we advertising for?
No.
So do we need to, I mean, we could decide what we want now and then advertise for that, but I wonder if we might advertise more generally for code enforcement / planner, and then kind of see what we get in the pool of applicants. And because if you get a really good applicant that's particularly strong in a particular area, then we might go a different way, and that person might never even have applied if we focus the posting too much.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, we could do that. We had been holding off on that until we kind of just determined what direction, because it's usually better to do a more specific posting than a more general one, but I understand what you're asking
Well,
too.
specific to code and planning, you know.
Yeah, well, that's pretty
But-
specific,
Yeah, so,
really.
but in general, I think it's still worth discussing, like, in an ideal world, where would we like to land if we had the right candidate? So,
Scenario 4, is this something we've talked about? Or?
It had been suggested by Pownell that they might be interested, but I don't know if it's that feasible.
Nothing
or
beyond that?
No.
No, there's no commitment from Pownell. Pownell currently shares with North Yarmouth,
Oh, right.
and
That's
there
all
was,
discussion, I imagine.
they were interested in knowing what it might look like sharing with Durham.
I suspect that might be more than they want to spend. That's my guess.
I think it's about 50% more than what they spend currently, but I know they also, I believe the town of North Yarmouth was increasing the cost on that as well, which is why they were looking to us.
Well,
Oh, that's why, because my numbers are wrong.
Oh, sorry, I changed the numbers after I gave you yours.
That's why I'm having a hard time following.
oh, so is the email not right?
The email I think is right, but
Yeah.
Mark came in before I emailed you guys and got some paperwork. And after looking at his paperwork, I realized I had done it wrong.
Yeah, I think they're
This
all the
matches
same
the
numbers.
email.
They were just different numbered on the scenarios. Yeah, they're the same.
oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. Just, she had scenario 3 and scenario 3.
So, and to be honest, I am very interested in scenario 1 or 2 as a possibility for cost savings for the town too. We have somebody already on staff that is certified in it, and the position is likely going to be, the position of road commissioner is likely going to be reduced because of Pownell wanting to step away from it. And I think that this could be something that we could look at as a cost savings to the town, making it a combined position. I do have some questions about Department of Labor, how it would work and so on, but that we need to get answered first. But that is, I am very seriously interested in that as a possibility too. We can't get into too many specifics in open meeting. We met,
Right.
but I did I wanted to put that out there as that I would be very interested in that. And I mean, we can look at any of these others. We could put it out and see what as you said, put it out and see what we get for offers.
I think we absolutely should do that. I think,
Or for,
yeah, I think we should see what's out there.
I think before we put it out there, one of the things we'd have to decide to do is what we think the hours might be. Right now, they're what they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where they'll stay.
Right.
So if we put it out there for X amount and after doing some more research, we find out it might be less, that might make the applicant say, well, that's not what I was looking for. So maybe we should talk about this and decide which direction we want to do, if we want to entertain one of these two or a different direction, so that when we do put it out there, we're putting out information that we're actually going to be reviewing on and interviewing on.
Code enforcement was 32 hours a week, right?
It was.
it
yes.
was. And which is, for the town, if it's 4 days a week, which it was, it's considered full-time and includes benefits. I think we would have a hard time enticing someone to come here if it didn't include the benefits, and so on. The question is, does it require that amount of time or not? And
I believe so.
Do you think it requires that, Todd, with code enforcement alone, or are you thinking code and planning
Code and
together
planning.
requires that? Yeah.
Code and planning would definitely at least 32 hours a week.
And, especially where we are right now with the stage in our comprehensive plan and the state of the ordinances. I think there's a lot to do there.
Yep.
Well, I still think we should talk about it, make that decision before we put something out.
Yep.
Because if we
Definitely.
put it out for 20 hours or for 32 hours or whatever we put it out for, and then we changed our mind after we've done some more discussion, you know, 'cause like I said, applicant's gonna show up thinking one thing and it's gonna be something else. So we should make sure we discuss this to see if this is the direction we wanna go, or if this is the direction we wanna go, and make sure that when we put it out there, that's our final decision. So that we're not getting people to apply, spend time
Well,
applying when they may
I don't-
not be interested if it was less.
I don't think we should lock ourselves in though, because we don't owe an applicant anything. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having somebody come in and interview and go through different scenarios. I mean, I think that's very common to do that. And, cause you might, who knows, you might have some semi-retired person with great planning skills, history, that's just looking to work, 15 hours a week, but if you don't put it out there, you don't know, so I think we need to go into it with an open mind and not box ourselves in.
Well, I don't think we're gonna box ourselves in if we make that decision up front. I think that's what we need to do. I understand what you're saying. I've also been on a couple of hiring committees where, not too long before the interviews started, all of a sudden the whole thing changed, and then when the people showed up for the interview, we explained what happened, and that was the end of the interview. So we kinda wasted their time and ours, in a sense, and I don't necessarily mean right here, but also, if we do that, then that word gets out and people say, yeah, well, that could change. By the time you get there, don't bother. I don't want that image out there. So I'd rather be sure, because if it happened to me, I wouldn't be real happy about it.
Well, it's how you frame it, I think.
We could try, we can try and look for people who have CEO and planning experience and maybe ask, them to put down their availability and wanted salary and that kind of thing. And
More of a survey type thing.
sort of, yeah.
That might be the better way to go. See what you're gonna, see what's out there, then make that decision which way you wanna go. I'm just hesitant about putting out a request for applicants for jobs, and we haven't really decided which way we're going. I think that's kind of putting the cart before the horse again. That's just my thought.
Well, we need to go somewhere with this, because we're marching down the road, and we have an interim codes officer who's basically doing the what needs to be done, but nothing extra at this point. And we need to kind of nail something down. I guess I wouldn't be opposed to putting out a posting looking for a code enforcement officer / planner. But we really kind of need some sort of job description that goes with that, I think. And I don't know that we have that yet, do we? Did we ever decide on something?
No, all we have is Paul's job description as of right now.
And that didn't include any planning.
No, could we just add in the plan?
Yeah, but then we have, so what would happen then is I have several different examples of planning job descriptions, of code enforcement job descriptions, and so we might be able to meld some of them together. So if you guys wanted me to, I could probably work on that before the next meeting and come before you with a melded job description and do it that way, if you guys want to wait for another 2 weeks, or we can, I don't know what you guys want to do.
I'd like to have something a little bit more firm than just kind of going, because right now we don't have anything firm. We're kind of going off ideas.
Yeah.
So if we're going to put it in the paper and spend the money, we should have something a lot firmer.
I don't think we should do, I'm surprised to hear that we don't have job descriptions.
Well, we had a job description
We
for
have
codes.
Paul's.
We never had a planner before.
Right.
So Paul did some planning stuff, but it was not part of his actual job description. So we've never had a planner.
So what kind of planning stuff are you guys looking for exactly? Like, what kind of things do you think you might want a person to be able to do?
Future vision.
Yeah, well, that's what kind of help guiding the town in some sort of a future vision that would align with the comprehensive. So initially, it would be helping the comprehensive planning committee to come up with that vision, but then helping move the town along that vision.
Yeah, I think developing the vision is something that the committee, and we have contracted with Greater Portland Council of Governments, so I'm not worried about the plan itself. It's once the plan is done and the implementation of the plan, that I think is where planners come in, because the comprehensive plan, this is an example, I'm not saying it's going to say this, but it could say something like, the town of Durham, wants to see its future housing grow in a manner that allows for smaller house lots and more concentrated development to preserve open space. That's about as far as a comprehensive plan will go. And then it's really up to the selectmen and the planner and the code enforcement officer to put meat on the bones and really detail out, okay, how's that going to happen? And that's where the planner comes in, is really in the implementation side of
And
So maybe you don't need a planner now.
though, and the,
Yeah, I mean,
you
that's-
missed.
There's a lot of ordinance work that.
Well, see, that's not the planner either. That's the planning board. The planning board is supposed to be moving ahead with the ordinances,
Yeah.
Help from the code
with
enforcement
help from the
officer.
codes enforcement officer. But so ordinances are supposed to basically originate with the planning board, at least from what I understood. We haven't seen much, but yeah, but it's. I know that they've been working on trying to align some of our ordinances and so on, but we're also going to need a probably need a rewrite when we get the comprehensive plan.
But doesn't that fall more under a code enforcement officer than a planner? I mean, aren't they the ones that deal with the ordinances and?
Well, they deal with the ordinances that have been passed. I think what you are looking at, the planner and the planning board are looking, or should be looking at, what should our ordinances look like? This is what they look like today. This is what the code enforcement has to act on today.
Right,
So the planner is looking ahead, what should, and the planning board, they're looking ahead and saying, okay, based on our comprehensive plan, what should they look like? And then they should be proposing the changes that would go before the town. If I think that's supposed to be the.
Yeah, you understand that much better than I do, so.
so I had gone to a meeting and, my town is doing a comprehensive plan now too, and they're, looking towards, what is it, vision-based codes or something to that effect. I have a pamphlet about it. So if I'll send that out to you guys, because I'm wondering if maybe what might be an option would be to try and find somebody who works with those kind of, that basically takes the comp plan and writes the codes to match with the comp plan and to make whatever happens in the comp plan happen. Because if the codes don't correspond with the comp plan, then whatever
Right,
you guys want.
That's the whole idea, is that
Right.
they would do that.
And what most towns do of this size is they have a code enforcement officer who works with GPCOG or AvCog to help, because they have planners, so they just contract, like I think.
Yeah, which is what we're do- yeah.
10,000 a year, whatever, or
Yeah.
5,000. They can give you as much as you want, so you can tailor that to whatever your needs are. You can get more of their time, less of their time. But they will do the same thing they're doing with you on the comprehensive plan. They'll work with the code officer, implementing ordinances that will align with, so they can work for you on an ongoing basis.
And maybe that's what we actually, so right now, we're working with them on the comprehensive plan.
Yep.
Maybe right now, what we need is a CEO, code
I'm
enforcement.
thinking the same thing.
And when we get to the point of implementing, maybe we look at it, do we beef up this job description? Do we have somebody that can do it? We beef up the job description, or do we contract out?
Part-time
in this-
planner or a contract?
In the meantime, so if I'm on board with you there, do we think we need a 32-hour-a-week person just for the code piece? I don't know, I'm just asking the question, I don't know.
My thoughts on this have changed over the last few 2 to 3 months. If you had asked me a little while ago, I'd have said probably yes. I'm not so certain right now. I don't know that I think we would need to discuss some of that in executive session, because we'd be getting close to
Okay,
it.
yep.
But at this point, I'm not certain, and I'd like to dig into that a little bit
Yep,
more.
agreed. Yep.
Because all of these first three, when they hit for the planner, for just the paperwork that Ruth put out, they're all 10 hours. So,
Well, that's just for the planner.
right, but that's what I mean. But that's why I was getting back to what Calvin said about GPCOG and how they operate, and maybe contracted that part out when the time comes. You know, if in fact that is the actual amount of time, may not be, maybe more than that, I don't know. The 10 hours a week.
I don't know about either, I
It
think,
was a guesstimate.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying.
I think the contracting of that service makes a lot of sense, the planning piece.
They'll give you some guidance. They'll tell you what they do for other towns of this
Yep.
size and let you pick or choose what you want. They can say, well, this is what we do for this town, this is what we do for this town.
And I think maybe to begin with, that might be the direction to go, because, I mean, we are a small rural town. Now, there are a number of towns similar size that have planners. I believe Bodenham has a planner.
She evolved into the planner.
Yeah,
She
and,
started as the code enforcement and then evolved into both.
right, but, I think we need, we kind of need somebody in that direction role, but it might be better off to begin with as a contract. And
So should we ask Ruth to come back to our next meeting with an updated job description for a code enforcement officer.
Well, if we're not going out for a slash code enforcement planner, then I don't really necessarily see an issue with the description.
Okay, I thought you said that we had Paul's, but you.
We
Well,
do have,
Paul,
Paul's was for a code
I
enforcement
got you.
officer.
Okay.
And it included the meetings that he was supposed to attend and ordinance work and that kind of
and
stuff, so.
that he was the E911 officer.
Yeah, and he was the I-9,
addressing
yeah,
officer. and
Addressing
things like
officer and,
So do we feel like that's ready to
that.
put out and at least start getting a pool of applicants?
I think what I would suggest, maybe we could put that out, but maybe have Ruth email the description to everybody so that you can look it over rather than putting it out without you knowing what we're putting out.
okay, so I will email everybody the description, and then if everybody gets back to me and lets me know what they think, then you want me to put something out, or just to see what's out there, or what do we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's proper procedure and something like that. Like,
Is that legal?
I think at this point, what would be proper is some sort of motion that would allow Ruth to put out a posting for the job contingent that there were no issues with it. If somebody has an issue with it, then we need to bring it back so we can discuss it. If everybody's okay with it, then there's no discussion going on. You know, you look at it, we're okay with it. If somebody has an issue with it, then we'll need to bring it back.
So
Discuss
moved.
it.
I think go back to Mark's question.
Not
Don't we
working.
first- don't we need to know, don't we need to know what the job's gonna entail first, if it's 20 or 32? Or-
Yeah, that's.
I
gonna be one of
believe
my-
if we're putting it out, I believe it's gonna be 32.
Yeah.
I
I think you should.
Because we're not gonna be able to get somebody to come here for less than full time. I doubt.
well, have we looked at other potential sharing arrangements beyond Pownell?
Not at this point, but I don't believe there's really, as far as surrounding towns, most of the other surrounding towns, they've got their hands full with they wouldn't have the cycles to share.
Certainly not the time that Durham would require.
Yeah, if you're looking at 32 hours here.
Yeah.
Well,
Who else are you gonna look at?
I'm guessing it could be done for considerably less, but if we're putting it out for somebody, I'm guessing that we're not gonna get anybody of any quality without a full-time position.
I don't know. I just think you can't presume that because, like I said, you just never know what's out there. You might have somebody that is really good, like I said, you know, semi-retired or for some reason they don't want any more than 20 hours a week. So I don't know.
Well, with that thought, if you put it out there, are you gonna put it out there with about hours? Because if you do, and then they show up, and then you tell them that, well, we've decided it's only gonna be 20, then what do you do?
Why not put it out there 20 to 30 hours a week or something like that? I mean, or do we have to put an hours thing on it in the?
Well, most people looking for it are looking,
Yeah.
whether it's gonna be part-time, full-time.
Yeah, they would want to know whether there's
But if
benefits that come
if
with
it
it.
looks like it's a part-time and they've got another town, that might work for them good.
Right.
If not, then it may not.
I just think to do it properly, it needs to be done properly.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, I don't think we have come to that decision at this point, that we know exactly which way we should go. I know what your thoughts are, I know what Jeff's thoughts are, I know what mine were at one time, and they have changed a little bit. You know, if you look over the last couple of years when Paul was here, each time he took on some stuff on his own, so he must have had time to do that, aside from permits and stuff and inspections. And then we'd asked him to do a couple more things, and we didn't give him any more time, so we had to figure out how to manage that, so he must have figured it out. And then we was potentially looking at another part of it. It wasn't gonna give him any more time, so when I started thinking about all that, when he was telling us, I'm thinking, well, all right, now how much time is the codes part really got? So that's why I said, you know, maybe at one time it was a certain way, but maybe it's not that way anymore. And that question was asked at one of our meetings. What happens if we don't need a code guy at 32 hours? They said, well, if it comes to that point, we'll have to reevaluate. It's that simple. I mean, it ain't no different than any other companies that when they right size, downsize, or do things, they ask other people to pick it up at 90% of the time. They don't say, well, you're gonna have an extra 20 hours this week to do it. You're just gonna have to manage it differently.
And it might be, with the increase in interest in building activity, recent history may not have been 32 hours, but, signs point towards more activity, in the near future here, more building activity, so.
Absolutely.
Would it make sense to have Ruth check with GP cog and get some ideas of what you can get for planning services and how much, so that you know how many hours? Maybe that would help just establish the hours that you would need.
We're, right now,
I
though,
think
we're
we're
kind
good.
of, we're
I think
kind of
it's-
looking at just this codes enforcement. So, I mean, we know, there's probably 10 hours a month just in meetings, right? And what's actually needed for doing permits and for doing inspections, and keeping your records straight and things like that. And that's kind of what, I think that's kind of what we're looking at, is what's really required. If we're gonna do the planning part through GP cog or something like that, then what is the actual required time of the codes officer? And
I didn't know if you could determine that until you knew what what you could afford from GP cog,
Well,
what the fee would be.
We already have a contract with GP cog for the comprehensive plan committee, so.
They contract by the hour. It's anywhere from $30 to $75 an hour, depending on which level planner you get.
And right now, that's all we need for a planner, is to get us through this. And then, once we get through that, then we,
As a builder, Todd, what kind of hours are best for builders to have somebody in the office?
During the day. As many hours as you can, really.
So
some
Paul is
guys will
here
come
all the
in
time, but like
during the
maybe
day. so-
5 hours a day or something like that, and then,
do you typically need them mostly for inspections or for doing the,
Both.
both? And, because, I mean, inspections you can set up a time for and so on, but, and yeah, I'm just trying, yeah.
And if you only got 20 hours during the week to go to do inspections, and the guy's waiting on an inspection, if you don't make it there, you don't make it there. And I just don't see, I hate to see us run backwards.
My only thought, and part of that is it 20 hours every week, or is it 10 hours this week, 30 hours next week? You know what I mean? Because every week isn't gonna be the same, because it's gonna depend on what comes in and how it does.
Yeah, during the winter, it should slow down, but it should.
Well, yeah, we don't really,
But to stay on top of it, and there's a lot more building code, there's a lot more energy code that everybody should be looking at. Hell, other towns do blower door tests that we're not doing.
is it required?
It's energy code.
I don't know that we've ever done it, have we?
Hmm.
So maybe it's bigger than we think too. That's what I'm trying to
It
say.
can be.
I don't wanna throw out something that,
Can be.
Towns have the option of doing that.
Yeah.
where it is.
Durham didn't adopt that, so.
Well,
Unfortunately.
I thought we adopted the whole unit, or?
Yeah, but there's portions of the energy code that you don't have to do.
Uh,
The towns can do it if they want to, like Scarborough has a 3-foot separation on their septic systems, which no other town does, but there are certain things you can do to be more restrictive. There are parts you can choose that.
See, for me, it's kinda like with the Pownell Durham thing. Everybody's kinda got set in their mind what 60/40 means. And between the two boards, what 60/40 meant was basically the pay scale. 60/40 didn't mean that Durham had 25 hours out of 40 and Pownell had 15. It could be, depending on the project and the flow of what's going on, it could be 30 hours in Pownell and 10 in Durham. Or it could be 40 in Pownell and 0 in Durham that week, or vice versa. So the 60/40 was not
Well, that's what I was thinking.
reaching out there, but I'm just saying, so that people aren't confused about this 60/40, it didn't mean that they were specifically 25-15 all the time. That's not what that meant. It all depended on what was flowing through each town, what the project was. I mean, you could spend 4 weeks at 30 in Pownell and 4 weeks in 10, and it could switch depending on how it goes. So that's one of the things that people don't know. They come here with an assumption of a lot of things, and they really should find out what the facts are before they start assuming a lot of things. And I'm finding lately that people are assuming a lot of things and they don't have all the information, so.
Well, certainly, certainly over the course of a long period of time, to use your example, it should be 60-40 of the work too. I mean, if we're paying 60% of the cost, and we ought to be getting 60% of the benefit over the course of like the whole budget year, understanding that there's variations, week to week, but,
It's a lot of work.
yeah,
It's a lot of work just to keep tallied.
yeah, so I don't know, we're kind of off on a tangent on that one though. But so, I think, I think if there's no way to know for sure, sitting here, exactly what we need. I think I'm with Todd. I'd rather err on the side of, put it out there as a full-time code enforcement officer, and which is kind of, where we were. And as you said, Mark, if we have to evaluate that down the road and make an adjustment, we can do that.
So if we go that direction, just that opens up the other question. What do we do at the road commissioner position when Pownell drops out?
Yep, but I think that's a separate question, and we shouldn't link the two together.
I don't think so. I think it can be, but they can also be linked. We have the option to link them, and if we are deciding right now, or if we decide that we're going to go down the road of looking for a full-time codes officer, we've got less than 2 months, basically, or about 2 months to figure out what we're going to do with the road commissioner position. And so the road commissioner position is actually very deeply linked with this, because if we decide to go down for a full-time one, we need to look right away at what we're going to do with the road commissioner position. How are we going to do that? Because our budget doesn't allow, the way our budget currently is, it doesn't really allow us to pay what is really a full-time road commissioner and a full-time codes officer. So we would need to look at it. Okay, how do we make things meet?
And unless I'm wrong, I don't think we've ever had a full-time road commissioner in this town.
I don't think so.
No.
Never have. Not since I've been here, we have not. So.
It's not been a requirement. However, there are some options that we have. One of the things that was in the budget was for a fifth employee. Do we pull that back, not do the fifth employee, and put the money that was going to be intended towards the road commissioner, and make the road commissioner position also a working position, so that he's also at times helping out on the roads more than in the capacity today, or so that's an option. Do we go with a part-time road commissioner and cut out benefits and things like that, which, all likelihood means we're looking at a new road commissioner, because we're changing what the position was. If we go down the road of looking for a full-time codes officer, we need to address the road commissioner within the next couple of weeks to be able to be ready for the end of June. And that's why I say, even though they aren't technically linked, there is a big linkage here.
Well, we know that this has happened in Pownell. I didn't know.
Pownell has, for all intents and purposes, told us unless town meeting it gets voted, what they're putting in for a recommendation gets voted.
No opinion?
Well, he's not on the board, and he's not on the board in Pownell, he's not the road commissioner, but unless it gets, what they're suggesting gets voted down in Pownell at their town meeting, that is we were given very clear that's the direction they're headed in.
Right.
And
The only thing I would input, my input, I know it's a bias, but most towns would salivate at the opportunity. I mean, everywhere you go, GPCOG, AvCog talks about collaborating, and combining resources and having, sharing positions, so you're only paying one set of benefits. You're cutting the cost, and you're trimming, and you're condensing, and you're putting things in, you have the opportunity most towns don't have. So just saying that's where the state is telling everyone to go. GPCOG, AvCog is telling everybody to
And I want to do that if it works. I don't want to do that if it
Right.
doesn't work.
Right, but consolidation is what every town is after. That's why they're looking at sharing positions. And so, I mean, you have an opportunity here, and that's simply my take on it.
one other thing to consider, and I don't know if we could have one of the things that we mentioned at the budget committee, that before we start hiring, we wanted to take a look at the benefits, specifically healthcare, before we started hiring new employees, to see whether it made sense to change the percentage formula or not, based on where we're at now and what similar towns are doing and things like that. And we haven't looked at that yet, but we would probably want to, if we're going to go the way of hiring a full-time, we probably want to look at that.
We've got a salary in
Which scenario?
2017 budgeted. Salary at 35.5. How many hours is that?
That would be
Is
the
that
32,
25?
that's the 32
32.
hours, right?
No, that's the road commissioner.
Oh, where are you looking?
Road commissioner.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a 60-40 split, so I believe that the whole salary is 57,000 or something. So
Yeah, I think it's 50, yeah.
Yeah, it's a 60-40 split, and it's a salary, not based on hours
Oh,
per
yeah.
se, yeah.
Oh,
And actually,
our share.
So I mean, it says salary.
yeah,
That's our share.
That's our share.
Right.
Yeah, and the original split was based on miles of road.
right. It wasn't based on time, it was based on, they figured, Durham has X amount of miles, Pownell has X amount of miles. And we felt that was the fairest way to divide it. And basically, the road commissioner for the towns were supposed to put in the time needed for each town to give each town what they needed for a road commissioner. And there wasn't a time split really factored into it.
And they kept track of the time so that at the end of, or whenever we'd meet, we'd go over that, and for the most part, they were always pretty close.
Well, not for the road commissioner, because the
No,
road commissioner was we
Well, no,
we did?
it wasn't,
No,
right.
yeah, not
It
for the-
wasn't for his salary.
It was for
what the town
when we
owed,
shared,
right,
when we
right.
shared labor and
right,
and
yeah.
and equipment.
Okay.
So we have 105 budgeted,
Basically, yeah, for both
And-
positions.
both of them full-time with the planner is 129.
That doesn't include benefits, though, does it?
Yeah, I think that includes benefits,
That does include benefits.
That doesn't include benefits. Yeah.
yes. So, yeah, the 105,
So we
so
got,
the road commission, yeah, the salaries.
okay, so you're looking at a full-time CEO. On the scenario 5, you're looking at a full-time CEO planner at 32 hours a week.
Yeah.
CEO and planner being the same guy,
Right.
Right,
not
and
separate.
I think we need like 1.5 guys. because I mean, I worry about, the split scenario is, 20 hours as road commissioner, 20 hours as code enforcement. So I worry we're shortchanging them both.
so I did actually, I was thinking about this some as well, there is what about the possibility of you do the split position? And if we find that we need more time on, like, the codes, we hire a part-time, an assistant codes officer that works under him, but it's a very part-time position. They're not gonna be getting paid as much as a code officer, and they won't be getting paid the benefits. You're looking for somebody that's looking just for a,
Per diem code enforcement officer?
but this is, Bodenham, I believe, has a part-time one.
not a bad
I
idea.
believe a bunch of them have it.
Farmington's hired
So-
for an assistant code officer.
So you're only paying the one set of benefits for the full-time person who covers both. And if we find that there's more time that needs to be, we'd actually still have money in the budget to be able to hire a very part-time for whatever hours we needed. And when you're looking at a very part-time, then you're really looking at somebody who's just looking to make a little extra money on the side, and not somebody that's trying to make a livelihood. But,
I've never worked a 40-hour week since I've been here, so I've had a couple times I thought I was on vacation.
But, so, I will say, one of the things that we need to get settled from the Bureau of Labor is, right now, the road commissioner is a salaried position because he is a supervisor, which means by salary, we don't have to pay overtime. We don't have to pay extra on the hours over 40, which is, I mean, it kind of shortchanges them. But if we go and add the codes, how does that affect that position from the Bureau of Labor perspective? Do we end up having to pay overtime on hours worked over 40, and how does that work?
Pay one as a stipend, maybe.
Right, and that was like scenario 2 or something like that.
Yeah, scenario two.
Have we asked them yet?
We've tried with MMA,
MMA,
and she got.
I didn't get a really straight answer, and then I
And-
tried with Jack, but I haven't heard anything back from him.
I suggested going straight to the Bureau of Labor. Typically, you don't want to do that because then they start saying, "Ooh, what are they doing?" But we haven't done this position yet, and so we're asking, what's the right way to do it?
Calvin, you did this in another town, right? How did it work there?
The code was a stipend.
Okay.
So that's how they-
Okay, so road commissioner was salaried.
Right.
Okay, so and you did.
I did it the opposite
You
way.
did it the opposite way, but I just want to make sure that it passes the muster with the Bureau of Labor, because I don't want to get hit with Bureau of Labor fines.
Yeah.
So maybe, by all this extra information, maybe we should wait till our next meeting and find out some more of this information, and then try to narrow that down. I mean, I know it's 2 weeks away, but, you know, it is what it is. There's a lot more questions than there is answers right now.
And it would be, I mean, in some ways, before we make a big decision on this, it would probably be good to have the 5th selectman being able to weigh in on it as well.
Yep, but it's also, I still think it might be worth starting to put something out there to, build the pool of applicants, because we're not locked into anything, or we haven't violated any labor laws or anything until we actually offer somebody a job and they take it. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that we could do.
But what do we put out? You know,
Well, do we have to put it in the paper? Does anybody read the paper anymore?
so we do
Yeah,
MMA.
it's the same thing.
So, we usually start with MMA,
Yeah.
because people around here, the ones where you go online, they're very expensive. Portland does a combination of the paper and online, and the last time I asked them, they wanted like $450. I know, this was kind of my reaction too. We didn't do that one.
I mean, we used to do Tri-Town, they were somewhat reasonable, but
Tri-Town
they're
was-
gone.
The Sun Journal's reasonable, the Times Record's reasonable, the Forecaster's reasonable, but,
Have you
like
ever-
you said, do people read newspapers?
Have you ever looked at any of the online, like?
I have not.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know
it's
what
a
that
subscription
costs.
that you
Yeah.
have to, Jobs in Maine or whatever
Yeah.
that is, which we used to have. a
But MMA is
subscription to.
probably our best resource overall, because that's where the people
That's
that
where they
want
go to look, right?
want the
Yeah.
positions go to look.
Anyway, that's certified is gonna go to MMA, so.
I would think we just put it there and see what's going on. See what kind of feedback we get. Can it hurt?
Do we put it out as a full-time or a part-time position? Because That's the question I have. is-
If you're gonna put it out with the questions that we got tonight, I would put it out. If you're gonna put it out, I'm hesitant on that, because I hate doing it like that. But if you're going to, I would put it out between 20, 30 hours a week at this point. I wouldn't put it out 32, I wouldn't put it out 20.
Pretty hard to go backwards. It's easier to go up and move
Yeah.
the hours up than it is to take it away from somebody else.
Personally, I don't like doing it that way. I think that's putting out bad vibes, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
I agree with the 20 to 30 hour week.
At least we'll get some feedback, see if anybody's interested.
All right, I need a motion if that's what we're doing.
And I believe Mark kind of made some sort of a motion at one point. I have no idea, it was a so moved type motion. I have no idea what it was
Mark
now.
moves to allow Ruth to put out the posting for job description contingent. Selectmen have no issues with the current job description.
That was the other thing that was, well, the other thing you was gonna verify on the IT stuff, I think. I don't think that was a job.
No, that was the one.
No,
That was the
that
job
was-
description. Yeah, that was the job
Okay.
description.
I don't think it ever got a second, though.
I don't think so either, so.
It didn't get a first, I
It
just,
didn't get a-
I just,
Well, actually, his was the first that was basically saying what I had said, but putting it out there.
You
So,
can use that as a motion, I'll vote accordingly.
Do you want to add the 20 to 30, for 20 to 30 hours?
I will add that on there.
where do we put that?
What are you gonna put for a deadline?
we don't typically,
deadlines.
we say until filled. So, that's a motion.
I'll second
Okay, so it's seconded. So basically, along with the motion, it's basically saying that the position would be for 20 to 30 hours is what we'd be putting it out for.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion fails. I would suggest tabling this until next meeting.
Good.
Yeah, and
it.
then-
You're not,
Okay. And, and the reason why I voted against it, I'm kind of in the same boat with Mark. I don't like putting out something that's kind of squishy.
Yeah, I disagree strongly with that. I think it's very common practice, and it's very generally accepted, and I don't see it as an issue, but that's the vote. Yeah.
Well,
We should
we'll
change
co-
that common practice, because I don't think it's very good at all.
We'll come back to this next meeting, and maybe we'll have a little bit more information on it. IT request for proposals. And so this is looking for basically proposals for IT support, and you're looking for contracted hours, basically. We're not looking for a new employee, we're looking for a contract.
Right.
And I think it's very needed. We were limping along with Josh as selectman doing a lot of it, and before that, we had John in the PIT role, and he was able to do quite a bit, but I think it's come to the point where we need help.
We need somebody who can tell me what I need to do. I mean, I have some IT experience, but I need somebody to say, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need.
And we put in the budget, we know we probably need a server this year, but we would like this person to go through what we have and make recommendations, and
So do we need a motion to authorize Ruth to do that? Is that what we're looking for?
to put this out for bid, basically.
I move that we authorize town administrator to put the IT request for proposal out to bid.
Second. Okay, you can second that one.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Response to audit recommendations?
Well, every year our auditors tell us what we're doing wrong, and every year our MMA people want us to tell them how we're going to fix this. And so we actually don't have very many. There were only 2 recommendations this year. One is the segregation of duties, which we have an incredible issue with anyways, because we have such a small office. It's very hard to segregate our duties. But we had talked about this last year, having one of the select people come in and sign any manual postings that I do into the general ledger so that you guys understand anything that I manually put in the general ledger. The rest of it comes directly from receivables, payables, and payroll, so it's not something you really can mess with. And then the second thing was that we didn't have any payroll documentation as far as the amount of money that people are supposed to be paid, and so I took care of that this year. So we will have that documentation, and then also they want us to adopt a formal health insurance policy, meaning put in our personnel policy that the town pays 80% and the individual pays 20%, and obviously we would change that when, as we wanted to do it. But I put in here that we would do that by May 31st, because that gives us time to determine if we want to make any changes to the policy and then do that. So I don't really need anything from you guys, unless you have any questions for me.
No. So with this, the general ledger stuff, did you said that was being done last year too? Or?
We had talked about it last beginning of December, and
Okay.
we did start doing that. Mark's been coming in, and I've been explaining any of the general ledger ones that I do, and he signs off on it.
Okay.
So at least somebody knows,
Would-
what I'm doing.
Would it make sense just to include those into like the consent agenda, just so that all the selectmen would
We
be able to see
absolutely
it?
could, yeah, yep. Would you guys like that?
I think it would.
There
That way,
aren't that many.
No, that way we'd all have an understanding of it.
Yeah, most of it's the end of the month, bank reconciliation, direct debits, that kind of thing, and then every once in a while, if we get a bond payment or something, or if I'm switching between the supplies account and the mechanic account, sometimes I do those, but other than that, there's not really a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that would actually be helpful for our
Okay.
understanding.
When I first started doing that, I asked Ruth a fair amount of questions the first 3 or 4 months, because I needed to make sure I understood that too, that I wasn't just signing my life away, so.
All right, and if you included this in our email package ahead of time, so we'd have a chance to look at it.
And ask me questions, absolutely.
Okay. Do you need us to approve this? No, okay. We have an application for appointment of Alden Allen to the Telecommunications Committee. Alden is our assistant, is it assistant Pitt?
Yep.
Yeah. And he's the one that records our meetings and so on, and he is at the meetings already, and so he's requesting to join the committee.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Departments and committees, the fire chief is excused, he's tonight. Road commissioner.
Put that in my file.
Okay, I will do that.
We've got everything else.
Only got 2 pieces.
We've got everything else. So, 2 things. So the crew is out full-blown patching season, patching pretty much non-stop. They're working on spring cleanup. You probably noticed when you came in, the place is looking a lot better. We got more to do, and working on the fire station, and they'll be heading out this week to around the town to get all the had a lot of tree damage from that storm in January with the heavy wet snow, and there's trees down all over the place. That'll take us a couple of weeks to get that cleaned up. So the 2017 paving RFP, we opened that on April 6th, and you have a copy of the bid sheet. The total was a combined RFP for Durham and Pownell. And the total for both towns was $470,077.95. But Durham's share at the top. And of course, with that we have shouldering, and we have cross culverts and ditching and other work that's got to be done.
How's that match for what our budget was?
Well, we're probably got about 75,000 left. But I had no idea where the numbers were going to come in. I mean, asphalt, liquid asphalt, I just got a notice today from Pike that liquid asphalt's gone up, and yet these prices actually, the chip seal went down to $227 from $232 last year, and the cold mix went from 58 to 55.33. So even with prices going up,
Okay.
they actually went down. So we did pretty good with this bid. So, but I had no idea where it was going to come in. So we will. I'm going to be looking at some options. We'll see what we run into with the cross culverts and the ditching and how much that's going to cost. And I'm thinking we're probably going to have about 75,000 left to put into another road somewhere. So that'll either be Bowie Hill or Country Lane off from Cedar Pond.
So are you looking for us to approve this?
Yeah, I'm looking to get them a letter. They need a letter that just says that they are authorized to move on so that we can get in their radar and on in their computer system as a job for the year to do, so.
And we're just looking at the Durham.
Yeah.
Durham part.
Yeah. So it was a combined bid, so.
What roads are those for Durham?
Cedar Pond, and Cedar Pond's 1.83 miles, and Stackpole 1.6 miles. So about 3.5 miles.
You're doing Stackpole from Bowie Hill Road up.
All the way to Ogden Powell. Yep.
So, and this is all through the one company you said? So we don't have any bid for anything from like Crooker for?
We did we included an alternate bid, and the only one that gave us the alternate was Allstate's, but which I'm really not interested in.
So you said this gets us approximately just under 4 miles.
Yep.
Which is actually kind of our target.
Right. Well, I think we'll probably end up close to that. We'll probably end up at that by the time I get done with what we've got left.
Okay.
Well, that will be over 4 miles.
I thought 5 was the target.
Well, between 4 and 5. So if you go on a 10-year plan, we've got 46, 47 miles. So yeah, it's between 4 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah. We get up to 4.
You think the other end of Stackpole is more important than, say, Bowie Hill?
Now, these are preventive measures. These are maintenance, preventive measures. We're just trying to save something that's still salvageable. Bowie Hill's gone. There's no fix. That's going to be. That's going to be.
Be careful with that.
Well, I'm still trying to come up with a solution. I'm still trying to come up with a.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is one of the hard things. It's very hard to explain because we know we have a lot of bad roads, but those bad roads need to be fully rebuilt, which costs a lot more money. But we can't stop maintaining our roads.
Yeah, I understand. I just wanted to ask the question.
Yeah.
the first part of Boy Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful.
I'm thinking, yeah, I know, we got stuck in it with the plow this year, so I'm looking to see if there's extra money here
There's no
that,
bottom.
that we can maybe do some do some type of
Yeah.
shim.
Unfortunately, that's almost throwaway, but something has to happen.
no
It may be,
choice.
it may be inevitable, because I got a feeling you're gonna have this room full here if we don't do something pretty quick.
Is there a long-term plan, like that, over the next 5 plus years to get the roads up to standard?
Well, the best you can do is a 3-year plan, that's about the best, and then that ends up changing.
Okay. Do we have one of those?
Well, this year and next year, I have, next year was, well, we didn't really know whether we were gonna get another bond or not, and so right up to the last minute, I was hoping to do, if we had done another bond, it would have been Davis and, but yeah, we have a plan of next year being Davis and Shiloh and.
But, so, I mean, we have everything, basically, he has a program to
I have a
assign priorities to the roads,
spreadsheet.
what needs to be done on them, when it needs to be done, and a lot of them say it needs to be done now.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah, but, and it's a matter of now presenting, coming before the town and saying, okay, these are the next ones that we're trying to bite off. And we have all these other ones that are in the wings, but these are the next, so, I mean, because we know Shiloh, Davis, Bowie Hill, Meadow, Old Brunswick, I mean, yeah.
And you
Metal
kind
Rose.
of.
I think we have you gave us a list
Yep.
last year before and which order they are, and
Yep.
obviously depending on the winter, they may change a little bit. That might be something.
I'd love to see that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
you
be
guys-
very helpful.
Gave it to you guys at the budget committee meeting, I left them,
I'll look through my
At
binder.
the end of the meeting, I passed them around.
Yeah, but was that the one that nobody picked them up? Or did,
I gave them to each of the members
Okay, you
before
did.
they left, but, yeah, so I can give you another one, I
Yeah.
can email you.
And
I can't remember. It seems like there was. I don't know. I can't remember how many you had, but you had a list of them all the way
Yep.
down, and
There are those in the reconstruct
Categorized, what-
category, there's in the maintenance category,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
in the, so,
that definitely would be helpful.
I have one of those layperson questions.
yeah.
We obviously here in the office get a ton of complaints and questions about the roads. And my question.
Compliments.
And compliments, sorry, Calvin, yes, and compliments too, we do. But my question is that some of these roads that are horrible and really we aren't gonna have money slated to repave them for, a couple of years at least.
Mhm.
Is it almost better to take the hot top, no, Sean's
Yeah,
back there
yeah,
shaking his
yeah.
head.
Grind them up and return them to gravel, yeah. Sometimes once you do that, that backfires and they never come out of that category. Yeah, so, but, there are some, yeah, Bowie Hill's getting close to that, and they'll love you until dust and the mud season, but that's always an option.
From what I remember, what I understood, and a lot of questions I've asked over the years, is it actually costs more to maintain a gravel road than it does a hot top road once you get the road to hot top. Is that correct still? I mean, the problem with Boy Hill turning it into dirt, and I've thought that myself, and I've had people ask me, I said, well, I agree, it's not far from that now, but the problem with that is once you take what little bit of binder you got there now off, it turns into a soup.
Yeah.
Because there's so much water on both sides. And what that needs is, it needs to be brought up, because there's no place for the water to go. It just kind
In
of goes
that
off
field
in the
section,
sits
in
there.
the field section,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
But,
there's
I
no
mean, I'm
problem.
Oh, there is.
probably
And
leaning
then
towards a
if you took
heavy.
what you got on top
shim.
off, I think you'd find the bottom, but I'm not sure you'd find the car.
Eventually you might.
Yeah, and this is actually something for us, for thinking about for next year. So this year, we decided not to put another bond out for a couple reasons. Number one, with the other projects that we're planning on doing in town and finishing up the Runaround Pond Road, Rabbit Road projects, and so on, our crew wouldn't have the time to work on a major project like they did last year, and which saved us approximately 40% off the cost. And so if we put out a big project this year, we'd be spending approximately 40% more on it. So that was one of the reasons. Next year, I'm thinking, do we put out for a bond for a couple of years worth of work rather than mini bonding everybody to death? Do we look at okay, what are the worst roads and what can we do it for in the next couple of years? And, because, yeah, doing a bond every single year gets old and it gets expensive.
Yeah.
But I think we need to maybe look at that, because we can't do 8 miles of road in 1 year, or whatever, but,
We did last year.
well, 8 miles of complete rebuild, yeah.
How do you feel Runaround Pond Road held up through the winter?
Good, got that one, there's a spot down by the park there that I've gotta look at. People have told me that there was always an issue right there. I might have to put a drain or something in there. But, there's a spot that's lifted, and so we're gonna look at what we're gonna do with that. We need to cut that piece out, put a drain in before we go over it, and then, patch it back in before we go over it with the, that's why you like to do your binder coat one year, so you find that stuff and you can fix it before you put your surface on, so.
Yeah. So he's looking for a, basically approval to send a letter to all states, is what, yeah.
I move that we give Calvin the approval to send the letter to Allstate.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
We were just here if there are any questions.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Thank you for coming.
Now what did I do with my, so takes care of that. So the next good news, I guess.
I was gonna say, are you gonna do a happy dance for this one?
I never dreamed in a million years we would get both of them. I thought maybe we had a slight chance of getting one of them, but to get both of them was quite highly unusual, so. But the letter that came back from DEP said they scored highest and we were up toward the top of the list, so
Good job.
I guess I guess I told them some good information.
So that's, you say the estimates, that's this sheet here?
Yeah, what I originally sent to DEP was 195,000, because you always want to inflate that number because they feel a lot better about giving $95,000 on $195,000. So everybody inflates their numbers, but I think as of today, going over these numbers, this is what the engineer's given me for numbers. That our share would be about 76,720. He's suggesting we just go for 100 and promise that whatever's left over will turn back into the roads, but just in case, unforeseen things, but this is his breakdown. Now, this is a grant for a smart stream crossing, allows safe fish passage, and it's quite a state-of-the-art, modern project. So it's wouldn't be just a round metal cover; it'd be solid concrete with an open live bottom that fish could travel through with uninterrupted. And it's quite a. I never dreamed we would get two of them. But, unfortunately, this would have to go back to the town for a special.
So the question I have on this, what is the time frame that this has to be done in?
Well, I'm still working through all the final details with DEP. They're supposed to be getting me some more information, but I believe it's 2 years.
2 years. So we could,
They want quarterly reports.
they want quarterly reports, okay, so.
And
Is this one of the culverts you might worried it may not make it till next year?
yeah,
Right.
these are the two that are already giving
And
out. The road's caving in.
Do
so
we,
I-
do we get this money ahead of time, or do we have to front the money?
No. Well, let me.
Because I know some grants, you have to front the money and then they reimburse you afterwards.
No. They give us the money.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I
And
understand it.
then you account for it.
Yeah, they just want a quarterly. He said this will be the easiest grant you've ever gotten. He said as far as there's no strings attached.
So if we did one of these,
There is a string somewhere then.
Oh, yeah. We'll just wait for that one.
Angus news somewhere.
There really isn't on this one. It's just, there's just, the
Do-
money was put in this.
do we have enough time this year to do both crossing?
It would be preferred to do both, so you're not closing the road
Yeah.
twice, inconveniencing people. The engineering would be cheaper to do it all in one shot. The administration, oversight, everything's just, I think you would get a better price from a contractor doing it all in one fell swoop, because they're right next to each other, so.
And we have enough in the Public Works Capital Project Fund, I believe.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah.
So
So we're not raising it, we'd be,
we'd be appropriating it. It's gonna cut that down lower than I want because, lower than I would have liked because we didn't put anything aside this year, but, I mean, say, yeah, $80,000 to get 190,000. I mean, this is probably more than, if we had done this ourselves, it's more than what we would have, a bigger project than what we would have done, but.
We would have just thrown some pipes back in there, but I mean, this is the right way to do it.
This is the
It's,
right way. So, I'm thinking that we do need to do a special town meeting.
But even just throwing the pipes back in there, we would have been at least 60,000. We would have been 60, I bet we would have been 100,000, just putting the pipes back in there. So it's
So-
still cheaper and we're getting a better product.
Yeah. Is this where the beavers block up a lot too, or?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't had any trouble this year or last year. A little bit early we had, but they're not bothering so far.
So I guess we need to start looking at when's the best time to do a special town meeting to put an appropriation. We don't have to wait, we don't have to do it before tax commitment because it will be an appropriation rather than rather than raising. If I'm not mistaken, we don't need to do it before the commitment, but probably sooner than later so that we can get started on this, but and I don't know.
Do you want me to get a timeline from Shannon as to how long it would take her to put it together?
Yeah, and I'm thinking an evening,
yeah, not a Saturday.
definitely not a Saturday. So I think typically we've tried to do like Monday evenings or something like that for this type of thing, but
Yeah.
So herein is a bit of a problem I'm having is that I need to get the engineering done in order to have a final figure or to get
okay.
put it
So
up to bid. And the engineering, 16,720. But I kind of need, I won't have a final figure until I have the engineering done.
are you going to get any of the money? Do you know when do you know when the money will be available to you?
I don't know yet. He hasn't gotten that information back. He's supposed to be getting me all the information. I just found out this past week, so.
How much do we have in grant match? I don't think we have this much, but how much do we have in grant match?
I mean, I could take it out of my professional development fund. I mean, I have
And then have it reimbursed when we
reimbursed.
once we pass the article. That's probably the cleanest way, is take it out of your budget if the article, and so we can get started on it. If the article passes at the special town meeting, then we can reimburse your budget. If it doesn't,
Not,
then,
then we just won't do any other professional.
Yeah.
We just won't do any other.
and you can only go as far as the grant money can get you, basically, at that point. But
Yep.
or you take the extra $75,000 left in your roads, and it goes to that.
Then we end up putting pipes in.
Yep, I mean, that's not what we want to do, but that is an option.
Yeah.
So,
So that's what I have there. So if I could, I guess, get an okay to move forward with getting the engineering going.
So moved.
Second?
any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. And so this was, the motion was to allow the road commissioner to go ahead with the engineering for the project.
Thank you, Jeff.
So next, the welcome to Durham sign, I've emailed them and I've called them. And they're just waiting to hear back from them as to, now, I meant to bring that picture and I I meant to bring that picture, but on the bottom where I had put, where life is a little less hurried, I actually did get that off the Durham website. If you go on to Durham's website, it is on an old photograph that's right in the front that,
I thought you said it was Pownell.
actually it was Durham, I went and looked again.
But,
Durham, but anyway, if you don't want that, that's fine. So what I need.
Have we seen, I haven't seen were we supposed to have seen a sample of the sign? or text of the
well,
sign?
he presented it to the board.
Oh, a long time ago. Oh,
And I meant to bring it with me again tonight just so I could show you, and I guess it didn't include it in here, but, yeah, okay, you might have it, you probably have it.
Yeah, I probably.
Anyway, on the bottom of the sign, I guess I was hoping to get some input as to, and I guess I don't need this right now, but, what do you want, to put, instead of just saying welcome to Durham, big in the middle, is on the bottom.
Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Incorporated 1789.
So I have two, actually, I have incorporated, then I have settled.
No.
Which one do you want to go?
Incorporated 1789.
Okay, so that is the year, you sure that's the right year?
I know that's the year.
Yeah, that's it.
1789?
So it was, Royalsboro was, I think, 1770 or something like that, but Durham was incorporated in February of 1789.
Where are we putting this on?
Across the bridge, as you come, it's going to be straight in front of you as you come across the bridge.
Oh, at Lisbon.
Yeah.
I took a photo of it and had them, I did a photo simulation, had them put the sign in the photo, standing in the middle of the bridge, and it actually fits.
So the thought is every year to do a new sign at each of the major entrances.
Auburn and Freeport.
Auburn,
Later.
Freeport, Pownell here,
Yeah.
based on any of the major state routes. Now, the question is whether do we have the available space to do it at each one?
I had DOT go down and give me their written approval to put it there.
Should put it there, yeah, but I'm thinking, are we gonna be having to do it on somebody's private property anywhere or something, which,
We'll get an easement if we need to or something.
Yeah.
I think that property belongs to the state, doesn't it?
that one,
Yeah.
yes, but I'm talking about the other other entrances, so, 125 also, so.
Seems like we used to have one at Auburn.
At the boat launch maybe or something, or?
No, right up at the lawn.
Yeah, it seems
we
like I
have
remember
one
seeing
there
one
one
there
time?
too. It wasn't a big one though,
No.
I don't think, not that I remember, but I
We used to
think
have
there
Auburn
was.
sign, but I don't remember the Durham sign.
No, we used to have one, a town
I
I used
think
to.
it was.
It's been a
Town I
long
used to work
time.
in, they used to have one that was, the town started like 15 miles out, and they put the sign, it came all the way down, like say 136, and put it just before you got into the town center. And I'm thinking, when you say welcome to blank here, what does that say about all the people that live? It's like, you guys don't count, and it was like, I always was offended by that.
Second class.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, if you can find that and just email it out, but,
So if that's what you want to put, is everybody okay with putting that at the bottom of the sign, incorporated?
Yeah.
I think it's the thing that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
1789? Okay, so that's what we'll put on it. And before I order it, I'll get a proof and I'll email it to you guys so you can look at it. And it's gonna be hand carved with the one with the Public Works is just painted on. There's no, this one will be actually carved in and.
Who are you looking at doing
Is
it?
it sandblasted or carved?
Al,
Carved.
Carved.
Bonita.
What's that?
Al,
Oh, I,
Bonita.
yeah. Called today, never got an answer. All I get's voicemail. I don't know. That's what they
Tell him to get going.
must be busy, so yeah, if you hear from them, let them know that we're ready to go with it, so. And that was with 18 karat gold, what do you call that stuff, that
Gold leaf.
gold leaf paint that goes in there. So it'll be very nice. The line striping bid from GP Cog was awarded to Poria Guidelines of Massachusetts, same one that got it last year. And they went from 7 cents to just under 8 cents a foot. They'll be contacting me at some point to schedule, so obviously we gotta have our final pavement down and run around and grab it before we.
Yeah, and that's all we're looking at striping right now is,
I gotta figure out how many miles that we had in there, but we'll have enough to do Quaker meeting,
Yeah.
run around, grab it all the way to Brunswick.
that makes sense, and probably the next one would, if we have any left over, probably the next one would be like Swamp and Soper and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shiloh, just anything,
No, I-
anything that goes to another town.
Don't bother putting it on Shiloh, it won't stick.
Might help.
That's binder. Good one, good one.
Oh, that's sad.
And lastly, you have my certificate for the leadership in Public Works.
Was Ron able to attend to?
No. I had emailed Bruce right after that last meeting we had that they emailed me back and said, I never heard, I put in originally in January, right, when it first came out, and then I never heard anything from them, so I thought somehow they must have just didn't get my application or something, so I reapplied again with me and Ron both on there. And they kicked back and said that the class was full, so
Okay,
Ron was on a waiting list.
all right.
But I have plenty of other classes for Ron. We're gonna be doing a lot of webinars and things that hopefully we can combine with maybe the town staff and maybe the fire department, and we can do them all in one location. So that's all I've got. The road postings, I'm looking to pull those Thursday evening,
Really?
so that's Friday.
Somebody else said at Freeport, some of the other places pulled, and that's kind of early, isn't it?
Well, Freeport did it early last year too. I didn't
Huh.
agree with them, so they pulled theirs last week, and I held off, and I'm still holding off till the end of this week. And I
I mean,
said, well,
if we can, that's fine, but. it
in my
seems-
opinion,
seems
if there's
early,
still
but-
snow, in the ditches and the shady spots, at 80 degrees, if it wouldn't melt that snow sitting on the surface, how much harder would it be to melt something down 2 feet under the ground? Obviously, there's still frost in the ground if it's snow in the snowbank. So that's my take on it. So I've held off. I've held off longer than most, but
Any questions for the road commissioner tonight? No. Anything from a codes thing that you need to, because
No.
I know, I mean, typically we had codes report, but I just want to make sure.
One of the big issues that you guys, I don't know how you want to deal with this, but that's coming up repeatedly is people want building permits on roads that are not up to standard. And this is one in particular I feel kind of bad about, but it's because they were given information from my predecessor that they could get a building permit with no problem, and now it's like, well, you know, and I can't really bend the rules because I got people here, there, everywhere, all over town from both ends, looking to see if they can. I've got people at the end of Bowen Road that want to know if they can get a building permit, and I'm like, per our ordinance, people on the old Snow Road at the end that goes up through, I mean, you've got to bring that road up to standard for 28 feet of gravel. Unless it's a single back lot for the first lot, if you could probably get away with just a 20-foot back lot. But once you get beyond that, if there's already 3 or 4 houses in there, in fact, I've got one now that's going to come in for the application. But I mean, at least they were already aware of that because, you know, Paul had already set the stage that that road's got to be widened to get the permits. But
So these are basically private roads that are
or
out
old
there.
discontinued town roads.
Right, which are,
Yeah, you've got one.
if they're discontinued, they're no longer.
They're private. When you've got one in the planning board, you've got, there's just things all over town that are very,
But are they discontinued or abandoned?
well, some of them are discontinued, and some of them are discontinued by virtue of abandonment, which is the 30 years of no public funds.
Because one of them has a little bit more rights than the other, doesn't it?
Well, they're the same. They're just two, there are two forms of discontinued. One is by abandonment, which is 30 consecutive years of no public funds being spent. That's abandoned. And then there's that's discontinued by virtue of abandonment. And then there's by town vote, by select board. And then you gotta go back and find the records and see what the date was, and then you find out what the rights were.
And most of those weren't actually by select board, most of those were by county commissioner.
County commissioner before the select boards.
But I thought there was a difference in where one actually kept
Well, it's 19.
the right-of-way available, but the town just didn't take care of it anymore.
Isn't a range road a different animal?
No, what it is 1967. If the road was discontinued, it gets complicated because if the road was discontinued before 1967, there is no public right to use the road retained. There's no public easement. If
Okay.
it's after 1967, unless the select board or the county commissioner stated there was to be one in the written document, and sometimes they did. If it's after 1967, then there's an automatic easement retained to the public to use the road. if it's after 1970, there's an easement for the public and an automatic easement for utilities. So it gets very complicated.
So I think most of our abandoned roads were prior to 1970 anyway. I mean,
Some of them get
except-
iffy. I mean, I had one in Auburn. I had to go back and actually look at aerial photographs every 10 years to see where the crown grew in, and me and the city engineer actually determined it was 1970s, so it was
Peter-
after 67.
Peter Veer, to the west of Davis, or to the north of Davis Road, or whatever, is an oddball one, because that one got discontinued and then recontinued, and then that one was an oddball, but most of them, I think, happened before my lifetime.
What is sad is every town, I should say every town, most towns, many towns, have a person who kind of undertakes the shepherding of maintaining records, and they're the go-to person for ancient records and things like that. And it's apparent that we had one. Unfortunately, I have the file with a lot of stuff in it that she had done. And it came in very handy over here on the old ferry road, where it used to loop out and come back to Route 9.
Yep.
And I had the family come down there and use the file in my office with me there, and they found the old ancient records that Mrs. Footman had put in there and actually signed a attested copy in 1970s. I mean, and when we lose people like that, it's sad, because things just get handed out. There's nobody really at the ship, at the helm of the ship. And it's sad. It's like I was saying to somebody, it ought to be maybe the Historic Commission or somebody. It's too bad we didn't have like another Connie that would step in and kind of take over that. But once you start losing those records, they're gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We had talked about at some point having things scanned. Do you know where that ever went? Old documents.
We never went down that road yet, because just the money isn't available for it. I mean, that would be great to be able to do, but and I don't know that the road records were actually included in that to begin with, but.
I don't think they were.
Do we have those roads records in the fire safe?
Nope, I have them in a file.
They should be
I have them in a
in a
file like this, and they're in my top drawer, roads.
What are we gonna do if we lose those?
When I got here, Paul handed them to me and said, "Here, this is for you. It's not mine."
How big is the file?
It's just, the one I got, just a file like this, just a little bit thicker.
Because that wouldn't be a problem to scan, and then, if you wanted to keep it in the
But
back room, it's.
I'm assuming that's just some of the stuff. I don't know where the stuff came from. I don't know, the file could already be jeopardized. I mean, half the stuff might already be missing. I don't know.
Do we have a fire safe file somewhere?
That
the
back room is,
The back room is fire
Oh,
safe.
the back room's all.
It's got the door is on a magnet. If fire is detected, it
2-hour
closes.
door.
The
Or,
stuff probably ought to be copied and brought back here. And
yeah, I would think
probably that
it's
stuff ought to
minimum,
come back.
Yeah, that should be here in the fire safe.
But yeah,
We lose it, we lose it.
if they're decent enough, it might not be a bad idea to make your own scans so that you have.
I mean, she has all the old newspaper articles from the 1930s and 50s.
Well, I've seen some of them, some of those articles online before, and it's actually hard to decipher what they mean, because they say discontinuing this road from this person's
Yeah,
house to that person's house, and the road may have a different name than what it has today. And
But a lot of that legwork she had already done and determined who owned that property back then. And so
Yeah.
Be nice to maybe meet with her and pick her brain and get what information she does have. She was here for how many years? 30, 50 years? Or, I think last year was her first time
Connie.
meeting she'd ever missed.
Connie? Oh,
been
yeah,
here.
she was here for a long time.
she
been living in that house for over 60.
Yeah.
So she was town clerk for probably 30 years, because she retired in 99, I think, somewhere around there.
Shannon's been here 16 years,
So maybe in the 2000s, then?
Yeah, somewhere.
Okay, so, and I think she started in the 60s.
Wow.
Jim Pownell has one. What's her name?
Sherry Dietrich.
Sherry Dietrich in Pownell has one. And where I came from, we had Charlotte. She was. Every town seems to have one, and you hate to. You see when they go, you don't find
Find the Fountain of Youth for him.
Yeah, well, you don't find anybody else. You don't find anybody else to come in and take over that.
Okay.
So that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Administrator?
I just have this one. This is every year the cemetery does a contract for mowing,
This one?
and they have approved this contract, the committee approved the contract today, and I just would like a motion that I can sign the contract.
Move we have the town administrator sign the cemetery mowing contract.
Second?
Second?
Can I see it?
Absolutely.
I mean, I actually talked to the cemetery committee a little bit about it, but I just. Anybody else?
Do I look at this?
I actually had a question for them because the last couple of years, it seemed to me it was being mowed on Memorial Day weekend, which seemed a little late.
On that weekend?
Yeah.
Oh.
But there, it specifies a date, and actually the date was before the 25th, so if it's an early Memorial Day, then that actually would be allowable.
Mhm.
Okay. And so it's been moved and seconded to allow the administrator to sign the contract. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Anything else that needs to be brought up at this point before I go into the selectmen's comments?
If we want to do something in the future, like towards, a goals or like 2 or 3 big projects, for the year we need to work on, how do we approach that? Do we just try to get it on the agenda and we talk about it at the next meeting, or how do we do that?
There's a couple ways. You can either put it on the agenda, on a regular agenda, or we can schedule a workshop. I think I'd prefer a workshop.
Oh, great, okay, yeah.
Yeah, which we do it on the off Tuesday, or something like that. But that's completely up to the board when we do it. It's perfectly fine to do it on a regular meeting, but sometimes something like that, it's nice to have a.
Yeah, I agree. I'd follow your lead on that.
Yeah, that way you get more, dedicate more time to that.
Do you want it as early as next week? I will, if it's not next week, it's going to be closer to the end of May. If I'm going to be able to attend, it looks like I will be away the second and third week in May.
It's fine with me if that's.
So that would
Have
be.
it after he comes back, you mean?
Oh, either is fine with me.
Yeah, either one's fine with me. I don't care either way.
25th, April 25th.
That's fine with me. Sure.
Do you want to do it at 6 or 6:30 work better?
6:30.
Yeah.
6:30?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll set a workshop up to look at goals, et cetera, for the coming year.
I will send you the information that I received from the class, so you guys can look at it.
Yeah. And, all right. Anything else? Okay, upcoming meetings. There'll be regular selectmen's meetings held here at the town office on Tuesday, May 2nd at 6:30 PM and Tuesday, May 16th at 6:30 PM. There'll be a comprehensive plan committee Monday, May 1st at 6:30 PM. There'll be a planning board meeting Wednesday, May 10th at 7 PM. Note that the bulky waste day is Saturday, May 20th, and I believe that starts at 9 AM usually.
I think it's 9 to 3.
Yeah, it starts at 9, so it goes from 9 to 3. Also related to that, there are clear bags here at the town office for people who would like to pick them up for roadside cleanup. You can put trash in the clear bags and leave them alongside the road, and Pine Tree Waste will pick them up.
Still doing the show your ID thing? That's for bulky waste?
Oh, probably you should,
I think it went pretty smooth last year.
yeah, that's the best way, that you have your license or a piece of mail or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Did you actually have to turn anybody away?
No, I mean, when you,
Well,
when you know you've got somebody up there that knows everybody in town,
Yeah, that's,
I can tell you without even putting your license
Yeah.
up, hey, he don't live here.
I don't think we have
Your
yet.
grandfather moved out
There's
20
been
years ago.
some concerns of that, because it
Sure.
seems like some people have the same amount every year. I can't imagine where they're finding it, but
Well, they might be bringing it for their buddy, but they're bringing it, you know.
I've actually followed some from across the bridge that showed up in the line, but I don't know if they went there and got their coffee first, you know, so,
Right,
you know,
right.
do you know if the Eureka's doing a pickup?
They did last year, I think they are again this year.
Okay, I believe that's it for comments. I move that we go into